we are no longer looking at non-financial disclosures. We are looking into sustainability-related financial disclosures.
Yes.
Right? I'm actually very happy that NSRF happened. The National Sustainability Reporting Framework is developed because we finally see like a plan and a roadmap.
All right. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Terra podcast, where we bring climate clarity through stories and voices of people who shapes sustainability. Hi everyone, I'm Saul. Thank you for joining us again. I am an environmentalist and I'm in the biomass power plant sector where we sell industrial power plants to industrial customers, commercial customers. And today I'm joined with my co-host.
Hi everyone, folks. I'm Kevin. I'm the co-host for the day. A bit about me, just to recap from previous episodes. I've been in the sustainability space now 8 years now. I'm a biologist by trade, so started my work in cave and karst biology, slowly made my way through sustainability in the award sector, a bit in consulting, and then I've been in the education space for the last 3 years. And today we have another guest in our podcast here today.
Very interesting guest.
I mean, we always say that. But we have another guest today, and perhaps to context set the session before jumping in. This session, for the most part, the team will be on sustainability reporting or disclosures, and it's been garnering a lot of attention lately, especially phrases or terms like ISSB. There's a lot of jargons out there. There's a lot of jargons out there. ESG by itself is a jargon.
Right.
For those who do not know, it stands for environmental, social, and governance. But in the reporting landscape, if you look back 5 years ago, there has been a lot of, I guess, in a way, headaches and anxiety, angst among practitioners alike, because there's no consolidation. You have a vast array of different reporting standards. You have GRI, Global Reporting Initiative, CDP, Carbon Disclosure Project, and TCFD, GHG protocol, and the list goes on and on. But I think in the last 3 or 4 years, there has been some form of consolidation, and then you have something the likes of ISSB, which stands for International Sustainability Standards Board, which is a consolidation of a few frameworks. Namely, you have your TCFD, which stands for Task Force for Climate-Related Financial Disclosures. Not really consolidated with GRI yet. They're looking to complement each other in some shape or form.
They surely do complement each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Outside in and inside out
Absolutely.
approach. CDP and a host of different consolidations have taken place with the recent rise in ISSB jurisdictional approach or jurisdictional adoption across Asia. Malaysia has released the Securities Commission has released the NSRF.
Right.
The National Sustainability Reporting Framework, which in a way implements ISSB or IFRS S1 and S2 in a phasing approach.
Correct.
Wave 1, Wave 2, Wave 3, and capping it based on market capitalization, starting with the big boys, 2 billion and above. So just to context set that, a lot of different acronyms and jargons, try to keep up with us.
Yeah.
But over to you, Dr. Saleh, to kind of introduce yourself.
Sure. Thank you very much, Saw and Kevin. Again, I would like to appreciate that you have welcomed me to this podcast. And I was telling you earlier that I am not sure that if I've done amazingly great things yet in life to be part of your podcast. But thank you very much. I'm very humbled by this. And very quick introduction. So I have a PhD from University of Nottingham in environmental sustainability. But again, hereafter, you call me Saleh. No need to call me Dr. Saleh, so we keep it very free and easy. My PhD background revolves around system dynamics modeling of energy policies, right? So how does this work is whenever a regulator or a statutory body, they set certain energy policies. Mm-hmm. It comes with energy targets.
Yep.
Each policy comes with a roadmap. Each policy comes with certain initiatives that try to help you in order to be the enablers to achieve those targets, right? So what does my research here do? We take into consideration all of these initiatives in one place, put them together under, if you look at it like a open blank canvas,
Yep.
you start throwing all the initiatives there. You start throwing all these jargons that you're speaking of there.
Yep.
You start understanding the causal linkage between each of these. What is the link? What is the relation between these different stakeholders there? To what degree and what extent they impact each other? What are the external factors that impact that entire scenario?
Yep.
You start building scenarios and you model these different scenarios in order to know whether the targets that are set in different scenarios, whether they are achievable or not. So,
okay.
of course, the very first scenario that you start off is business as usual,
Yeah.
right? The BAU scenario, where you say, okay, fine, that Suranjaya Tenaga has set this target in the NETR, another jargon again, the National Energy Transition Roadmap.
Yeah.
Then you take one of those targets, you try to understand the causal linkage between the different stakeholder groups, the different initiatives that are in place, the different projects under that particular target in order to achieve that target. And you try to develop a causal loop diagram and a stock and flow diagram around it in order to understand whether the targets are really achievable or not at this pace. And then, of course, a best case scenario and a worst case scenario. Very similar to your climate scenario analysis.
analysis,
right? But even before climate scenario analysis became a thing in Malaysia, I mean, I was already doing something like this for the energy policies. So the love for environmental sustainability started actually back in 2016,
Okay.
way before all these terms, NSRF and all your the buzzword of ESG started buzzing around in the market here. I always had a love for this environmental sustainability field, right? And for that, I would like to give a shout out to my professor, Professor Eng Hua. If he's listening, he would be extremely happy currently. So while supervising me, he moved to Australia, from Australia to China back to Penang now. And of course, now he's a professor, he's a dean of a school. And one of his module, very interesting, energy efficiency, and more related to social side of mechanical engineering. You know, the mechanical engineering, not people may think it's all about solid mechanics of solids and fluid dynamics. And not necessary, right? So for young practitioners or people who are studying civil engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, there is always a social science sort of a area that normally gets overlooked. That's the area that normally I thrived on. And Professor Eng Hua was teaching that module. And it just so happened that he told me, oh, you really scored well in my module. Do you want to take up a Master of Philosophy MPhil with us? And exactly that's how and where environmental sustainability became a part of my journey.
Amazing.
And today here we are in this podcast with you. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks for...
That's actually very great to hear, right? You know, like even Kavin and myself, we are environmentalists. We came from different backgrounds.
You're an engineer.
Yeah, I'm an engineer. He's a biologist. And we came to one sector where it's to make the world a better place. And we love hearing stories like Dr. Saleh's story, how he started his journey. And Saleh, would you actually start off, explain to everyone, you know, we know that you actually went through this doctorate. So what do you do today that is, you know, as a job, and what's your career like today?
Right. So I am a co-founder of this organization called EcoThinkers. Prior to that, I had worked with some big consulting firms, including one of the consulting firms under the National University. So my consultancy journey, or my journey as a consulting practitioner, or you may say sustainability practitioner, started off with me advising and guiding one of the largest ports in Malaysia. And that project, Port of Tanjung Pelepas, PTP, in Gelang Patah, Johor. So that came under UKM Pakarunding, if you have heard of them, the consulting firm under the National University. So they had headhunted me from my LinkedIn while I was finishing my PhD. I had already submitted and I was waiting. I was more or less free because the correction period and then the assessment takes a long time for your internal and external assessors. So that's how the consulting journey actually started.
Right.
And then from there, 2 more years with another organization, followed by me founding my own organization. And EcoThinkers, how and why I have started this is because I always had a own sort of a vision of how consulting firms can also be run in a not so conventional and traditional way.
Yep.
And that is again me welcoming people to reach out to me if they want to work this way, where I have told my team and I myself have attended meetings, internal meetings, of course, keeping it, of course, professional. We have attended meetings from Airbnbs,
Yeah.
from beaches, from
Beaches, okay.
Yes, I have. I've taken calls with my team members where I know that the team member is basically he's working, but at the same time he is also kind of not in an office setup. It doesn't affect me. The
Yep,
work
yep.
gets done.
Yes.
He, I think, is 15 to 20% more efficient because he's looking forward to the rest of the day to be spent well.
Right.
So I'm trying to break free from all this conventional
stereotype. Shifting gears, actually, I mean, the core content of today's episode is on reporting, and
Right.
it's a very much talked about topic in the sustainability space, especially among practitioners. But I guess to kind of context set, as mentioned earlier, the reporting expectations has increased rapidly. We went to see Japan, JSSB adopting
Yes.
ISSB in some shape and form.
Philippines.
Recently, Philippines, in
Yes.
fact, right before New Year's.
Yes.
Yeah,
Australia being one of the first.
Australia as well.
But they have come up with their own
Yeah.
ASRS.
ASRS.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's basically mirroring the
IFRS,
IFRS,
as well.
Yeah.
But I think Singapore has taken a step back
Right.
compared to us, but I think
Right.
we're still in good shape. And for
Right.
Malaysia, hopefully we don't detract in our ambitions and regulations. But from your perspective, what has changed in how organizations are expected to approach ESG reporting today, from it being quite scattered in terms
Right.
of the whole ecosystem to
Right.
something more consolidated
Right.
eventually?
I'll be very honest with you, Kevin. I'm actually very happy that NSRF happened. The National Sustainability Reporting Framework is developed because we finally see like a plan and a roadmap. Prior to this, of course, we had some common sustainability indicators to follow. And that's where it became a very sort of tick the box sort of a practice, because there were 11 common sustainability matters, some sector specific matters, few indicators within each of those material matters, and people would find a way to somehow go and disclose that information. And that basically used to be it, right? Very narrative driven, not really decision useful disclosures. I call it decision useful disclosure because I feel if you read something and it doesn't enable your senior management or your board to make any kind of decision, what's the point of all this effort, 4, 5 months, 6 months of writing a report, right? If it is just for the sake of meeting some compliance need, right? So the NSRF has given it a full, like a fresh sort of a dimension. You know why? Because it's a fresh dimension or a space, is because now we are no longer looking at non-financial disclosures. We are looking into sustainability related financial disclosures.
Yes.
Right? So this is where the struggle begins for all the organizations. All this while, what we've been very focused on, and there's nothing wrong in that, we are very focused on stakeholder impact reporting, right? So which basically the Bible of it is GRI, right? GRI is at the forefront of it. In Malaysia, in our jurisdiction, Bursa Malaysia has adopted some of the GRI practices, and even they give due credit. They say that this indicator is from GRI so and so, right? So so Kavin knows what I'm speaking for. So it's like they call it the GRI 303,
Right.
3031, 3031A becomes a specific indicator or a metrics amongst that, right? So even then, so the smaller companies were just following the Bursa style of reporting, the Bursa Malaysia listing requirements. The larger companies ended up doing the tick box practice with the GRI standard. And I have experienced this. I've been part of this. I've been part of this kind of projects where, you take the entire GRI standard, you see where you can map it against, and somehow find a way that, okay, this is GRI so-and-so compliant. This is GRI standard, this compliant.
Right.
So we are trying to boast by saying that
it's similar to the SDGs, right? You have the SDGs. There's like, okay, I have something, and no poverty. Okay, yeah, I'll just check it out. But there's a host of different
Kavin,
indicators
Self-claim is
beyond
no
that.
claim, right?
Until today, I still don't understand that how does organizations say that they are complying to SDGs?
Yep.
There is no compliance to SDGs per se, because SDGs, if you look at it, it's more on a nation building sort of a
Nation building is a global
agenda,
goal,
right?
Yeah,
It's a global goal. It's
Yeah.
a nation building goal. It is not something that miraculously you as an organization contribute and then suddenly things change.
yeah.
So, see, it's a practice. People have just adopted that somebody reported on UN SDGs. Let's all go and map UN SDGs,
Right.
Yes, yeah.
right? So, that is going to slowly go away because you see with the IFRS S1 and S2 standards coming in, where the challenges are going to begin
Yep.
is, of course, initially you are given the transition relief of looking into qualitative disclosures only, right? Then they're going to start asking you to quantify them.
Right.
Quantify the financial impacts on your cash flow,
On your cash flow.
on your capex, on your operational expenditure. You're looking at your insurance premiums.
Yep.
You're looking at how does environmental, social, and good governance factors impact your access to finance. How does it impact your overall revenue,
Right.
your profitability? How does your EBITDA change because of this?
Yep.
And everything, right? Now, the challenge is, how do you define the boundaries? What are the boundaries in order for you to look for these financial matrices?
Right.
Because the playing area is huge.
It's huge.
Right? You don't know exactly what metrics to look for.
Yep.
Example, because of course we started this practice with most of our clients who engage us.
Are you helping currently? Helping
Yes.
anyone? Yes. Okay.
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
Actually,
okay.
to most of my clients.
Would you be able to share any names?
Uh,
Or if it's bounded by NDA, it's completely fine.
to some degree,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
But I will tell you the industries.
Yeah.
Most of them are in shipbuilding, vessel chartering.
Okay.
They are mostly manufacturers.
Manufacturers.
So largely oil and gas manufacturing. And one of my clients for the past 3 years, they are in the fintech.
Fintech
solutions.
space.
Yes.
That's quite a
That's
broad.
interesting, yeah.
Yes. Again, you see, so the work that I do or the work that we do
Yeah.
is actually cross-cutting, right? It's not very, very, very rigid to a specific sector.
Yep, yep.
Yes, there are sector-specific requirements. There are sector-specific materiality changes vastly, right? But the practices that you implement are more or less the same. But for example, like for a fintech company, I don't have to have site visits per se,
Yeah.
right? Or I don't need to plan for visits at a operational level and go and see how day-to-day manufacturing works, right?
Yeah.
So I
There's
was
nothing to see.
nothing to see, right?
It's just an office with computers.
Exactly,
yeah.
right? So, but for manufacturers, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
We go in, we check their social compliance.
Yep.
We go in, we map their social compliances against world's best practices.
Yep.
Some of them would be defined by the ISO standards. Some are defined by the Responsible Business Alliance (RBA) standards, right? Example: if you have a fire exit,
Yep.
right? Is the fire exit blocked by any kind of material that, in a case of a fire,
Yeah.
would essentially block your passage when you're trying to exit?
Right.
If that is taken care of, your ESG side of things is automatically taken care of. You don't really need to worry so much
Right.
on which standard and so on,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So for me, it's again at a very ground level implementation.
Speaking of materiality and double materiality, you kind of framed that really well.
Right.
Right. So imagine I am a SME within the supply chain of a public
Okay.
listed company.
Okay.
And
Within the supply chain of a public listed company.
Yeah.
Okay. But you are not a public listed
I'm
company.
not a
as of
public
yet.
listed
Okay.
company. So I may not have the resources, and it's always about the profit and loss statement at the end of the day, right? How can I survivability? But then I do supply a large portion of my portfolio, my products is supplying to public listed companies. Let's say wave fund companies,
Absolutely.
and I don't have a dedicated team.
Right.
How can I then approach sustainability? I don't want to look at it as a cost. I want
Right.
to look at it as a value creation lever.
Wonderful.
How would I approach this?
Okay. That's actually a very good question. kudos to you guys coming up with very, very good questions, because these are day-to-day challenges for lot of the organizations I work with as well. So how can an organization as such really start doing or looking into ESG? Again, ESG, there is an extra E to this. I'm sure, Kavin, you're aware of it, the economic well-being.
Economic well-being.
Right?
Yep.
People don't normally term it or phrase it together. It doesn't sound nice. EESG.
Yeah, we should call it E square SG.
I think you should call it E squared SG. Oh, thanks for that. Well, most of the time I've been calling it to my clients. I go and say EESG. I'll start calling it E squared
Actually,
SG.
sounds much better.
I'll tell them that Kavin suggested this. So when you look into these 4 dimensions, right? Now, how do you start?
Yeah.
The very, very, very first step is again going back to the old school method, the GRI method of looking into impact materiality. Now, a materiality is quite complex when you do it with lots of rigor as taught by the IFRAG or as taught by the GRI standard, right? You look into scale, scope, you look into remediability of it, and whether the impact is positive impact or negative impact, whether it's actual or potential, and so on and so forth. If you don't have the resources to do that, how you start off is you start doing focus group discussions first internally.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
You gather the head of departments of all the respective departments within your organization. You have a head of engineering team or operations. You have a head of HR. You have a head of
forming the committee in
yes,
a way, right? Yeah.
yes. So this is we are heading in that direction.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have a head of finance. You have corporate affairs, or you call them the COPCOM sometimes, the corporate communications team. And of course, it should be led by one of the decision makers, like
for sure.
an executive director or somebody from the board, right? So essentially, as Kavin said, we are looking at forming an internal sort of a committee first, right? Set up a committee. Don't look into the bigger PLC's governance structure. It is very complicated. You don't need to do that. You just set up a committee first. In the committee, you have all the department heads or at least senior managers involved. Under each one of them, get some working team members from the departments involved. Now, the biggest thing here is do not go and tell them that we are asking you to do extra work. You are not doing extra work.
You're speaking based on experience, I presume.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's not just that. It's not just that. People get it wrong. People
Okay.
get it wrong that this ESG concept is extra burden for
Extra
me.
burden.
Yeah, it's
It
extra
is-
work. Yeah, in a way.
Right? You think of that way, right? At an organizational level, that's not how it should be. You map the right person for the right data collection, right? How do you do that? I'm not going to go and ask for LTI, lost time injury, to finance department. I'm going to ask to health and safety.
Yeah.
So if you are looking at, so once you're thinking of materiality, so coming back to materiality, then I'll come to the roles assignment. You form the committee first. You start looking into your peers, what your peers are doing, what your peers who are PLCs they are doing, and also your customer who is basically sourcing from you. Look into their pool of material topics, right? Look into it and compare maybe 3-4 peers and try to understand what is happening at a peer level. Once you have done that, basically to some degree you have done a peer analysis. Number 2 is the customer for who you are trying to fulfill the requirements. Go and see what kind of standards they are complying to.
Right.
If they say GRI standard, if they say SASB, sector specific, certain sector, like industrial machineries, you look into industrial machineries, there are proper guidance on what material topics to look at. It's not rocket science. It is all available in the public domain.
Yeah.
Just go search it up, SASB. Even to some degree, when you go and type your company's name, they give you an automatic guidance on what standard to follow. Similar for your MSCI, ratings. They have a materiality map as well. Either they call it materiality finder or map. Go look for it, type your industry name, and they will automatically give you a pool of topics.
Yep.
We call this the material long list formation, right? Long listing.
Yep.
You come up with a long list, right? You come up with 30, 40 topics, a combination from your peers, a combination of what the standards are guiding you. Now you have a long list, right? Once you have that, sit with the committee again. Start shortlisting it based on which topic impacts our business
Yep.
and to what degree, right? Come with a short list. So maybe the 30 topics now become 10 topics. Now these 10 topics is feasible to carry forward. Come up with some form of engagement either through surveys or you can do like webinars, or you can do focus group discussions, workshops with your external stakeholders. Invite like 6 customers or your top 10 suppliers or your few of your regulators, few of the local authorities like DOSH, Bomba.
Yeah.
You can involve DOE, right? Bring them on board and tell them, these are my top 10 material. These are my 10 material topics. I need you to rate them on a scale, whatever scale you decide, from 1 to 5. How does this impact the external world? Which is falling back to the impact reporting, right? At a very small scale. I'm not asking reach out to 1,000 stakeholders. I'm telling you reach out to 50 stakeholders to start off with.
Yeah.
And then internally your employees, internally your board of directors. Let them do the rating.
Yep.
Come up with a rating and then come up with a prioritization. Out of the 10, if you feel overwhelmed, start with the top 5
Yep.
or the top 3, right? And then start looking into what matrices and indicators across these top 3 material topics you need to really start tracking data. You see how slowly it's becoming more of a you visualize it like a funnel, right? From all these jargons and scattered words and everything, you're finally coming down to your top 5 or top 3. For the first year or for the first 2 years, just stick to the top 5.
Yeah, just recapping from what they've kind of put together, I think it's very interesting. So step 1, just to recap, is to kind of come up with the committee.
Correct.
You have different committee structures. You have ones that are integrated within an organization where everyone wears different hats, have different specialties in sustainability.
Yes.
Sometimes you dedicate 1 or 2 person who are experts, but in this case, we're talking in the context of SMEs. It'll be just creating the committee and having a decision maker kind of chair that board, so you can kind of get buy-in, right?
Absolutely.
That's where you have your steering committee and your working committee, so to say. This is more in a public listed company, larger scale. Then going down to your materiality matters. So within the financial context, materiality may mean something that's financially material, but within the sustainability or ESG context, it's essentially topics or themes that are pertinent or relevant that affects your business.
Exactly.
Right, and it goes around the spectrum of EE or E squared
squared
SG,
SG.
E squared SG as
Yeah,
we've coined it. So we have a list of different topics there. So like Saleh's rightfully in a way mentioned, you kind of come up with a flurry of topics. You shortlisted based on engaging different stakeholders internally, and then you sort of validate that with the rating system
Absolutely.
to external stakeholders.
Absolutely.
Then 3, monitor and data. Data is key, right?
is key.
And that's where most discrepancies happen, fudging of data, etc., human errors, random errors. You collect the data, analyze them, baseline, and then report.
Yep.
Setting a target and report.
Exactly.
It's as simple as that.
Exactly.
Folks, we're at the end of another episode. This is a bit more different, I think, from the other episodes. We've not really gone very in-depth into reporting before. We've touched on conservation. In fact, with Sam, it was on COP.
Yeah.
And our previous episode was on the built environment with Prof. Suzaini. And in this episode, we talked a bit about disclosure. Very important and I would say very dynamic space to be in at the moment. Something that we all have a lot to learn. We're in that journey of learning. And thank you very much, Saleh, for sharing your insights. And if our audience were to actually connect with you, where would be the best place for them to reach you?
You can connect to me through my LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Personal LinkedIn.
Personal
and then
LinkedIn.
we have EcoThinkers LinkedIn page as well.
Okay.
You can reach out to us via our website as well.
Awesome.
And if possible, we will actually in LinkedIn you'll find all the information.
Lovely. And we will add the link in the description below. Thank you again for tuning in and stay tuned for a flurry of different episodes. We'll be having a few different perspectives from the vast array of speakers that we have planned for the year. If you find this useful, give it a like. And if you find someone who might find this useful, please feel free to share. And again, signing off, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you.
See you.